Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. And I want to share a few things with you this morning about what we have ahead of us in the coming days. And I want to share, to start out here, I want to share a testimony of my wife's aunt. My wife's aunt, Ernilda, was 99 years old when she died. She was 10 days short of her 100th birthday. And she had many years a great relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. And at the end of her time being kind of bedridden and in a hammock all day, and she had a lot of time to pray and to just spend her time with the Lord, you know. And so she had many different experiences of visions and dreams and visitations that the Lord gave to her. On one of these occasions, she was awake in her hammock, but just really bored, and the Lord came to visit her and said, "Ernilda, you're bored, aren't you? You don't have anything to do. I bet you're bored, huh?" And she said, "Yes, I'm really bored, and I can't. Everybody else is busy and they got all their things to do, and I'm sitting here in a hammock. I can't do nothing." And so he said, "All right, well, let's go for a little trip. I'm going to take you on a little trip, get you out of here." And so the Lord took her. She was awake. She felt that she went on this trip with the Lord, and so she was taken way. Well, number one, she was taken into our town, and she was up, flying above our town, and she saw the church, and she saw the main square, and it was so beautiful from up above to be able to see it all. And the Lord said, "Okay, hold on now. We're going to go up a little higher." And so they went up a little higher, and then once they got above the clouds, then she saw this white horse coming from the distance with a man in a white gown riding this white horse. And it was such a beautiful sight. That the horse was so white and so beautiful, and this man on there with the cloak and his white robe, and he came up, and he came to a place where he saw, there was a crowd of people. And then within this crowd of people, I was there. She saw me. She saw this crowd of people, and this man on the white horse came up to get me. And so she saw how the man on the white horse came to get me, and wanted me to come up on his horse with him. And so I'm like, well, okay, I can get up on the horse with you. And I was assuming that I was going to go in the back of the horse. And so I, as a rider normally would do, I was getting on the back of the horse. And he said, "No, I want you to come up. I want you to come up here in the front of the horse." And so, well, yeah, but so I questioned that, and I said, "Well, the person who rides in the front will steer. Why do you want me to be in the front steering?" And he said, "No, I'm going to steer it. I'm going to steer it. I just want you up here so that wherever we go, I'll be protecting you." And so I got up on the horse, and she remembered that I was really small in comparison to this big man on the white horse in this white gown, and that we galloped off. And it was such a beautiful sight as we were galloping off, and I was there with him now on the horse, and galloped off into the distance. And then as we were going away, the gown was flowing in the wind, and we were galloping, and it was so beautiful. And she followed us, they followed us then to where we were going, and when we came to another location, there was another great multitude of people. There was a great multitude of people, and the Lord said to me, or the man on the white horse, I assume that it was the Lord, right? But the man on the white horse with the white gown told me to get off the horse, and then he got off the horse, and he gave me a great roll, a scroll, a pergamum scroll, like a pergament, and I don't remember what they call it in Spanish. It's a pergamon scroll, and so he gave me this scroll, and as he gave me the scroll, then he told me to go to read it to the people. There was a great multitude of people. He gave me this roll of text, and said that this is the scroll. I want you to read it to the people. And so Ernilda, in an amazing vision, saw these events. And that stood out with me when we heard that vision. When we heard that was a very interesting time, because this was just after I had received this the call that the Lord had given to me. This was probably early in 2013 when she received this vision. I had just received this call through the sign the Lord gave me on December 12th, 2012. She didn't know what I was doing, or what I was involved in, or why, how somehow, some way God was going to be giving me a scroll to read, but it was very interesting because I felt like the Lord was indeed giving me many things to share with the people, and then she had this vision. So to me, it was a beautiful confirmation that the Lord has a very special message that He wants me to be sharing. Now, before I get into the information that I'm going to share with you, I want to remind you of a passage of Scripture in Isaiah chapter 38. Isaiah chapter 38, when Isaiah was sent to the king Hezekiah, and he said, "Get your house in order, for you will surely die, you will not live." Get your house in order, for the Lord has said, you will surely die, you will not live. Okay, this is the prophet Isaiah coming to the king and giving him a report from the Lord, a message from the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. This was a thus saith the Lord. You will die, you surely will not live. Get your house in order. This was a thus saith the Lord. And Hezekiah went into his bedchamber, or into a place where he sought the Lord, went into prayer, asked the Lord for mercy, asked the Lord for help, asked the Lord to reconsider, asked the Lord to give him another chance, asked the Lord. And so he went into his prayer time and sought the Lord, and then the Lord came and he spoke to Isaiah again and said, "Go and tell the king that the Lord has heard his prayer, that I have heard his prayer, and that he will be given 15 more years of life." So there are many things that happen when the prophet of God is called to give a word, and he gives the word. In Isaiah's case, it was a thus saith the Lord. And yet, the Lord came back, and this is a biblical example. The Lord came back and said, there's more time. We're going to give Hezekiah 15 more years of life. So, Isaiah did not lie. Isaiah was not a false prophet. Isaiah was obedient, and the response of the Lord also worked together with the response of Hezekiah. And then the Lord sentenced his judgment that he was going to give 15 more years of life based on the response of Hezekiah. So, okay, I want to get into this information now that we're past September 9th and September 11th. I want to get into this information. I want to share with you what I see next. I want to just kind of go over where we've been over the last year. Going all the way back to the March 22nd, 2013 Abomination of Desolation. Not only was Barack Obama in Israel at the Church of the Nativity, but he signed an agreement with Israel called the Unbreakable Alliance. Very important text, very important agreement. Words in there that show that Barack Obama will stand with Israel, that as long as the United States exists, he will have the back of Israel. But then we see then in 2016 that Barack Obama broke the covenant when he cast the deciding vote against Israel at the United Nations. So we have an event that many people still today do not want to accept, but yet there was an agreement, and the agreement was broken. The Unbreakable Alliance is called the Covenant of Peoples. So we've been following this since 2008 when Barack Obama took the altar of Zeus and received his nomination. We saw the Obama Nobel Peace Prize in 2009 and how that is connected by 1,260 days to the abomination. And then we have the abomination event. And then according to Daniel, here we have our 1,335 days, that from the abomination, blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. So, we came to November 16th and 17th, 2016. Here's the conception event of the Revelation 12 sign. March 22nd, abomination, 1,335 days. The beginning of the Revelation 12 sign. Okay, and so we were looking at this, and that was a definite spot of, could this be the rapture? And that was the warning that we were giving. This is day 1,335. Here's the abomination. Jupiter is just entering Virgo. Is this the birth event? Is this the rapture event that will unleash the beast? And so we had to watch that, and we had to see that, and all these events then have taken place. So we came to November 16th and 17th. That was the conception. February 4th and 5th, we were looking at the Super Bowl based on number of days, based on all the signs, based on what they were showing, based on Houston being declared ground zero, based on Oblivion showing 2017 being the final Super Bowl, based on Barack Obama's birthday, 666 months, on February 4th exactly. Okay, and so we had all these things. And then if you look at the Revelation 12 sign, Jupiter was almost ready to leave Virgo, right there on the edge of Virgo, because he went in, Jupiter went in and out and back in, and now it's out again after September 9th. But February 4th was a marker real close there in the Revelation 12 sign. You can look that up. Then we came to May 25th, and it was Jupiter entering Virgo, Jupiter exiting Virgo. Jupiter actually exited Virgo for about 20 days, from May 25th to about June 10th, something like that, and out and back in, and we were watching that event because Jupiter actually left the womb. And so this was when Barack Obama went to Berlin and seated at the throne of Satan. Obama declared himself to be head of the nations. Head of the nations. That is a title reserved for Jesus Christ alone. He was seated at the throne of Satan, which is the god of this world, and that fulfills 2 Thessalonians 2:4. Seated in the temple of a God, he proclaims himself to be God. And he did that seated. I shared with you before May 25th, we should watch the event in Berlin, and that this event would be seated. How did I know that event would be seated? That's the revelation that the Lord gave to me before the event happened. That it would be seated. And I told you to watch this. And it exactly happened what I shared with you that we should be watching for. Okay, so he was seated at the throne of Satan in Berlin. Then on July 25th, I told you this was a watch day. They made the vote on Obamacare they could not overturn Obamacare. The Obamacare repeal failed. So Obamacare stays the law of the land. That means the RFID chip that is in Obamacare, it stays the law of the land. It also means that the RFID chip contains the name of the beast, Obamacare chip, which means the biblical prophecy, the number of his name is still in place. Whether Barack Obama comes back into power, how he comes back into power, but the law of Obamacare right now remains the law of the land. And then on the same day they announced the Wisconsin chipping event at the company in Wisconsin, 3 Squared Market. Okay, 3 Squared represents the number 6 market. Okay, and so we see the connections here. Then we had August 1st was the actual chipping party. August 1st, the Wisconsin RFID chipping party. This was the 9th of Av. It represents the destruction of the temple. And this event happened, and I was sharing with you ahead of time that we need to watch these days and we need to watch these events. And every time I share a date with you, the events come, and these are incredible signs that many people still want to disregard. But those of us who can see with our eyes open, the wise, I will just say that these signs are amazing confirmations that they are taking us into their new world order, and it's all planned, and they know how and when it is going to come. They know how and when it is going to come. And so then we had on August 8th and 9th, I told you to watch this time, and on Trump, there was an event with Trump in North Korea and an altercation and the going back of threats, and Trump made his statement about fire and fury, that this world will see fire and fury that it has never seen before. Okay, that is a sign of what is going to be coming. August 21st was the eclipse. Amazing sign of Jonah. Was that the sign of Jonah? We're going to talk about that when we get into these upcoming dates, how that would be interconnected and how we can understand this. And then we have August 28th and 29th, 7 and 8 days after the eclipse, Trump in Houston confirming the breaking of the water. Trump in Houston confirming the breaking of the water and the flooding that's taking place in Houston. Then we were watching September 9th through 11th, Jupiter leaving Virgo. Jupiter born out of Virgo. This is where the major disasters have been striking. And September 9th, it was just breaking loose. That great big earthquake in Mexico that happened on the midnight going into the 8th of September. I myself in Yucatan, Mexico, I was sitting here at my desk at midnight writing, sharing a warning about September 9th through September 11th. And my house was completely shaken. It was shaking for 3 minutes. I got my whole family together, and after I felt it shaking, I got my family together. We went out on our balcony, and it continued to shake. The windows were shaking for about 3 minutes. The entire plate of Mexico was moved. This earthquake in the Pacific was connected to the San Andreas fault line, and this earthquake was felt all the way up into Texas. All of Mexico was moved. I mean, there was a shaking, and things are happening now, and there's escalation. There's escalation. There's events happening in Tabasco, in Guatemala, in Chiapas. There's just across Mexico, there are events happening because of this. And I don't know about Central America, you know, about Costa Rica and all those Honduras and down there. But there was a movement that took place on September 9th. So, I mean, there's, you know, the big one is coming. We know the big one is coming, and this was a precursor, a definite precursor. It had to do with the solar flare that came from the sun, and then just on the 10th or 11th of September, another major solar flare was ejected towards Earth again. So the signs are coming. Okay, now, people have been wanting me to get on board with the September 21st and September 23rd rapture scenario. Everybody's talking about this has got to be the time. We've got the sign. We've got the Feast of Trumpets. Rapture on trumpets. Rapture with the Revelation 12 sign. And everybody is saying, Steve, when are you going to see this? When are you going to just get on board with everybody else? Come on, Steve. Let's go. Okay. And so now that we've crossed September 9th, we've got Jupiter born out of Virgo. Jupiter is out of the womb. Okay. Now what is next is this. Then we're just looking at trumpets, and we're looking at the Revelation 12 sign, and that's it. Then rapture. Okay, I'm going to pause this video. Okay, I'm going to pause this video, and I'm going to erase the board here. And then I'm going to write down and share with you what I see next, and what the Lord has given me to share with you to bring understanding about what we can expect over the coming days. Okay, thank you. I'll be right back.